everybody. Welcome back to the Christian Channel podcast. I am your host, Austin Kelly. Today, I'm here with Kathleen Bowen and Faustina Bowen. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. We're
Glad
happy
to
to be
be
here.
on.
Awesome. So I only have a few questions for you guys because you guys have a really cool project that you recently released. So my first question is, can you share a little bit about your family and your journey as filmmakers in rural Idaho and what led you to create this film?
Oh, yeah, a little bit about our journey. We moved to Idaho in 2010 and we moved from the Seattle area, so it was a busier life there. And when we moved to Idaho, we decided to get rid of our television and all our movies. And going through that process led the children to be able to explore more and learn more of read more and all those things. And eventually we did decide, let's get a TV and let's just watch movies occasionally and make sure they're good movies. As we started doing that, we got a hold of Jim Morlino's The War of the Vendée. That was a homeschool group had made that from Connecticut. And my kids were so in awe over the possibilities, and they thought, wow, if they can make a movie, we could make a movie. And from then on, we started learning how to make movies, and Jim Morlino mentored us as a family, and more specifically, my daughters, Mary and Faustina, through high school as they started making their movies. We did end up moving around a bit with my husband's job, so we ended up in the Central Valley part of California. And while we were there, we made 3 films, and that was a great opportunity because we had a larger homeschool group, and many of the kids were interested in filmmaking and helped make movies with us there. And now that we're back in rural Idaho, Mary and Faustina have graduated, and they've decided that this is where they want to go with their lives. So as a family, we've all learned a lot about filmmaking, and our most recent project was inspired like the rest. It was a book that they had read in high school that thought, everyone has those books that they read and they think, oh, this really needs to be a film.
That's awesome. And what is it about the story about Fabiola that caught your interest, and how do you plan to make a story relevant today?
So, something that really caught our interest with Fabiola is the story takes place in ancient Rome. And for whatever reason, actually, there's a lot of movies about the Roman era. And I just really feel like I think that they were really popular in the 1950s because we were seeing this in our own nation where we were actually seeing kind of the glory of our nation, and we really wanted filmmakers and audiences wanted to see movies that were showing the glory of Rome because there's a lot of similarities there. Now, I think the reason that we're so interested in Rome is because of its fall. I think that the American culture is experiencing a fall and everyone is feeling that. And actually, the Roman times really resonate with people where they feel like they feel a connection to that time. And Fabiola particularly, though, I feel is very relevant now because it's a story of hope where it goes all the way through the fall of the Roman Empire. It took hundreds of years for Rome to fall, but at the very end of the fall is when Fabiola takes place. And it goes to when Constantine comes in and Christianity is established throughout the empire. And I really feel like it is something that a story that we need to hear because it's bringing that hope of, yes, Rome fell and it was not fun when it fell, but something new arose out of that. And it was actually the High Middle Ages that came out of that. And I think people need to hear this story, feel the hope of that. And also, not all the characters survive Fabiola, and they go through a time of persecution, which we may be facing now. They're being surrounded by people who are most of their surroundings are pagans. And the saints that we see in the story, Saint Agnes, Saint Sebastian, even the fictional characters of Fabiola's slave Syrah, they react in a way that we would want to react if a persecution does come after us, where they stand strong in their faith, and we just really want to give that message to audiences.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I love that center of hope where you could strive to be a saint, even though the world is collapsing around us. We could aspire to be saints. That's such a wonderful message. How has your crowdfunding experience been, and what kind of support have you received from the Catholic community?
As far as crowdsourcing, it actually has been a success in many ways. It has been, I think, about 35 families contributed $13,000. It took some time to get the momentum going, and it's just been really great because we have a family website, and we've had this website for many years. In a lot of ways, it served as a platform for us to be able to accept payments, and also a place where we could be getting traffic coming to our site for people who are like-minded. And I'd say that amongst the Catholic community as a whole, I think a lot of mainstream Catholics probably have no clue who we are and haven't really noticed yet, and I hope that they do. But amongst the traditional Catholics and the homeschooling Catholics that are conservative families, and also even very conservative Protestant families, we've had a lot of support. And I think that there are people who are like us who want wholesome entertainment, and they are ready to help support that financially. And they're also willing to, they're really impressed with, if we can give them our best, they forgive us for a lot, which is great too. And we strive to do our best though, and we would like to have quality movies. And also I've noticed that men, especially who are involved in the Knights of Columbus, they've had been very big supporters as well. I think that they really put their money where their mouth is, and they want to make sure that they're supporting wholesome entertainment.
That's awesome. And it's like when I was in high school, we used to actually, believe it or not, go to record stores. And it's like finding like the perfect band. And I feel like having you guys on the podcast is like exposing, like, no, this band is a great band. You should really watch their work. Faustina's, what are you guys talking about? But you guys are a family. The company is called Industrious Family Industries. And what is it like working together as a family on this film? And how do you manage both the creative and practical sides of filmmaking?
I think I'll take the first part of that question, and Faustina can handle the second. But as far as working together as a family, this has started as a homeschool elective or something extra that we were doing in our homeschool. And that's why homeschooling is so awesome, because it gives you opportunity to explore the areas you're interested in. But it's always been a family affair. My husband works full time at another job, but he's hugely supportive. He's acted in the films, and he's always the head of the family. And we're able to go to him with difficult questions, or we're always updating him, and he's always interested in staying in the loop. All of the children have acted in the movies. On set, we've had babies on set. We have to, oh, the baby made a noise, we have to reshoot that. Now the youngest one's 4, which had made it a little less stressful, but filming our last scene, but still everyone was there, and it really is all hands on deck. We have young people holding the boom mic. I've acted, my husband's acted, so in that way, it really has truly been a family activity. Did you want to talk about the other part?
Yeah, as far as how we manage the practical and the creative sides of filmmaking, I would say that we were raised a family where discipline was an important part of growing up. And the way that's overflowed into our adult lives is that we actually have been always decided to be open to criticism, hearing correction about what we could do differently, and being able to handle that and be able to make a better movie every time through those comments from people that make movies better than us. And so, like Mom said, Jim Merlino mentored the first few films, and the way that our process worked with that is we'd make a movie and then we'd show it to him, and he would pick 3 things that this is what you can work on that will be better in your next film. And then we'd make a short film. And with the short film, we would hone in on those skills, slow down on the lines, and try to do not so such profile shots and different things like that. And so I think that practically we've been able to take tips from other filmmakers. We've been able to watch different movies to decide what we like and what we feel like works and apply that. As far as creatively, though, I think that we, as a family and as a movie crew, we very much so played our own strengths and weaknesses. So if you're on a movie set and there's a lighting issue, there's someone who is in charge of lighting and will come talk to you about the lighting. Or if I'm the production director, Mary's the creative director, and what that means is during filming, she's very focused on where she wants her cameras, what the set looks like, if lighting needs adjusted. I'm the production director, and that means I go to the actors and I talk to them, and we do some exercises. Mary's friendly. I'm actually the kind of welcoming committee that way. And so playing to our own strengths and weaknesses is another way that we've actually been able to really learn a lot about how to make a film and not burn ourselves out in the first few films, and actually do something that's sustainable that will be able to continue the quality.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys all work together to see one vision happen. And I'm just going to off the cuff comment. It's art, like I went to a really nice university and I graduated media studies. And I always reflect back sometimes when I'm on a movie set and working too, and I'm like, did I really have to go to spend $150,000 on this education at this big university? And you are proving everyone wrong. And I feel like what you guys are doing is actually what filmmakers should be doing, which is getting a camera and trying. There's so many great filmmakers out there that don't produce what you guys produce. I feel like your family produces great fruit, and there's independent filmmakers out there like the Kevin Smiths who just one day, if you know the story, like one day I'm going to make a movie, and then he makes Clerks, and Clerks distribute through Miramax, but it's garbage.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you want to watch Fabiola, okay, everybody.
We're very inspired by Walt Disney, and that is his path. Was just like he turned 18 and was like, you know what, I want to be a filmmaker, and moved to Hollywood. That's definitely something that inspires us, and we want to be like a Catholic Walt Disney company that's going to be
Yeah. Or
huge
in
at
the
producing
beginning of
lots
Hollywood,
yeah.
it didn't start with a lot of people who graduated college. It
Yeah.
started with artists.
Exactly. And so, what challenges have you faced making a Catholic film in rural Idaho, and how have you worked through them?
Idaho has a lot of pluses and minuses as far as filming. Of course, one of the pluses is the beautiful landscape that we have here. They make for really beautiful sets. As like our Paleo film shows, we drove 20 minutes away and filmed on this beautiful location, and that is definitely something that's good about living in rural Idaho and filmmaking. We also have very minimal building codes where we are, so you can build practically whatever you want. They won't care if you don't have running water in your studio as long as it's not going to blow down, but they'll even let them blow down. That's actually a really good thing about Idaho, is that you're not spending a whole bunch of money in permits and things like that to be building anything. A challenge though with living in Idaho is that it's inaccessible. Airplane tickets are very expensive to get people here. And when you're living in a bigger place, you have people that are interested in everything. And there's a lot of people that are interested in whatever your specific interest is. When you're living in a rural area, everything is smaller, even like people's interests. So you might be really passionate about something, but you're probably only going to find one other family in a 50-mile radius who's also really interested like you are. That's provided the challenge with casting and having crew people come on. The way that we've coped with that, though, is putting a casting call on our website, which is still up if people are interested. That was how we were able to find the three main characters in the Fabulous scene. They filled out our casting call, and we actually, part of the funds that we were raising for the scene went to buying them airplane tickets and getting them here. So I think that really just being open to creative ways of fixing those issues is always very important when you're living in a rural area.
Hmm. Especially, you're making a movie about Rome, right? The collapse of Rome, and the imagination you have to go into to making that set. It's
Uh-huh.
quite remarkable to pull it off in Idaho. How do you plan to show the important themes of faith in Fabiola, and while keeping the story accurate in history?
Fortunately for us, Fabiola is based on a novel written by a cardinal of the Catholic Church, and he put years of research into the Fabiola story. And that's actually been hugely helpful because it already is pretty accurate according to history. So we of course adapted it to be more film-like, but you practically follow the story and you're not going to have very many historical conflicts. I think that with the story of Fabiola, one of the most important things to us is portraying the saintly characters in a light that is realistic, but also not damaging their character at all. So we have taken a few of the characters and given them a few flaws so that people can feel more connected to them. But as far as keeping it accurate to history, we've done a lot of research into internet articles, encyclopedias, just learning about the period. And we're very interested in history, so we like to have debates about every historical point. Like right now, the going debate is, was Constantine a heretic or not?
Hmm.
Was he baptized Arian? That was actually, he believed in the Arian heresy, or was he a Catholic and that's the only person that was at his deathbed to baptize him? We have debates like that, which actually is good for research because you learn more and more about it as you try to get ammo for your debate. So I think that so many of us being so interested is really helpful in keeping it accurate.
That's awesome. So, what is your vision of the film style and storytelling? Like, how do you want the audience to feel while watching it?
We want the audience to feel inspired. Like one of those sad movies that actually really inspires you. I've never seen Braveheart for reasons that we had to throw the TV away in 2008, but I hear that it's very inspiring even though the good guy doesn't come out on top in the end. And I want people to feel that with Fabiola. I want people to feel like they're watching Ben-Hur with new and improved filming techniques and enhanced video and audio and everything. So I want the feeling to be, wow, those were some amazing characters. And this is a story I want to be like those characters. I don't want it to just be a film that people are watching to watch, to be entertained. I want
Mhm.
them all to feel that inspired feeling of watching a really great movie. And with style and storytelling, does take place in a lot of the catacombs, but we try to make those scenes minimal and brightly lit, so it feels like a place of peace and not there is a scary scene, not like a super scary dark place. We want it to feel like it's radiating the light of the Christians that when they go above ground, they're bringing the light with them. That's kind of my dream of Fabiola. So, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Catholics out there that probably discouraged. They're like they share the same vision as you. But what advice do you have for other Catholic artists who want to create films and art, but feel they don't have enough resources?
I think that they should just try, like we were talking about earlier. I think that they just need to, if somebody is going to do their best and learn the trade and realize that they're. Recently, we interviewed Danielle Raborden, and he worked for EWTN for 18 years as a producer. And he was talking about how you start, it's like a ladder, and you have to start at the bottom rung, and then you go to the next rung, and you go to the next rung. If people can accept that they're going to start at the bottom and they're going to just keep improving, I think that many people can tell good stories. And I think that as Catholics, we have to do this. We have to get out there and do this. We have to support it financially and just try. And I think that in The Chosen, I remember there was something like a line where someone said something like, this is what we do. We tell stories. And we are the new Israel. And that's what we do. We tell stories. And we need to get out there and we need to be telling our stories through cinema because that's where you tell your stories in this time.
Absolutely. And how has your faith played a role in making this film? Like, have there been any moments where you felt guided by your beliefs in producing this short film?
I think that our faith has played a monumental role in this film and every film because everything that we've done really has sprung from our traditional Catholic faith and also from our learning more and more about the church and reading the stories like Fabiola and other stories. So I think that we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't have a strong faith. Getting involved in entertainment was not something that my husband and I ever were interested in. I think that would be one way. Do you have anything to add?
As far as having how we've been led at times, I really feel like there is a lot of prayer going on behind the scenes. And I don't want to act Jesus spoke to me directly, but there's been times where we've had like a story conflict or even like a schedule conflict or different working with different people and having certain things arise. And I've actually been saying my nightly prayers or praying the family rosary, and all of a sudden, this new idea that fixes everything will pop into my mind. So I definitely feel like moments like that happen to us frequently, and that it's guided by the Holy Ghost. I think that there's many times in every film that I felt very guided by the Holy Ghost.
That's wonderful. And what do you hope for the future of Catholic filmmaking? How do you think Fabiola will fit into that future?
I would say that I'm hoping that Fabiola will be a beacon of hope and encouragement to these other Catholic filmmakers, feeling like this is something that we can do. We can tell good stories. You don't have to be in Hollywood. You don't have to have millions of dollars, maybe $1 million, but not millions, to make a good story and we can all band together with that and set a new standard of Catholics are going to make movies. And I know there's a lot
Yeah.
of Catholic filmmakers already in the world that are in the bigger studios and things, but I think that this will really and we're not going to just make one movie and that was our dream project and we're done. We're going to keep telling these stories and continue on.
Yeah, and I think that I hope that Catholics feel like they can make movies for Catholics and that they can reach that audience and that I think even recently at the most recent is probably I always confuse the two. It's probably Oscars or one of those sort of award ceremonies. Someone had said, we need a lot of $5 million movies. Quit making these giant movies that no one really is caring about. And so I think that Catholics can get that same message where we need to make movies that are for us, that we need to tell our stories to our people. And we need to evangelize that way to others. But we're not making movies for the secular community. We're really making movies for each other. So that was what my hope would be, that people see that Fabiola, that they can do that same thing.
That's beautiful. And why don't you share with us, is this a for-profit or a nonprofit that you guys are?
We have an LLC, so it is a for-profit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is a for-profit. Okay, okay. Our audience could look at the short that you guys produced and they could contribute, right?
Yes, they can contribute if they'd like to give a smaller amount, but they can even invest in the movie too if they'd like to own the story with us and be able to get behind the scenes as we were releasing them and actually help us tell a story by owning it as well.
Yeah. Can you share with our audience where they can find you and support you in the future?
Yes, yeah, we have our family website that we've been talking about, industriousfamily.com. And on that, you'll find all the information about our past films and more information about Fabiola, where you can contribute and invest. And then also we do have a newsletter that you can subscribe to on there. And we are active on social media on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So make sure you check out those places if you're there too.
Totally. And I just like to make a comment. I found out about you guys because my wife and I got notified on YouTube, and we're like, what's this Fabiola project about? And we sat on the live premiere and we were just super excited. I saw all the hard work that you guys were doing, and I was like, I have to have them on the podcast because I know the anxiety, the stress. And I don't know if that was Kathleen, that was your son holding the boom mic, but I
Yep.
was, that was okay. Like, how old's that kid? That guy doesn't have a work permit now. But no, I was super impressed, and I love the direction you guys are going. And to be honest, the quality was spectacular for what budget you guys pulled off. $13,000. I've been in film sets where literally the budgets were in the hundreds of thousands, and it just didn't have what you folks had, which was the lighting. I don't know who taught you, but I was very impressed.
Basically, I guess self-taught, and also we have had a great mentor in Jim Morlino. Really, a great mentor in
Yeah.
Jim Morlino. We can't thank him enough. And recently we even had Christian
Here's
Garcia
Alana.
Zalata.
Yeah.
He also gave us a little bit of mentoring. So people are so willing to help, and you can find that, and the trial and error and hard work ethic. That's why we're
Yes.
industrious families. Thank you.
And
We really appreciate those
Our first
compliments.
film did not have lighting like that.
And we
and
have all of our films available, so people
Yep.
can be encouraged to see where you start and where you end up.
that's awesome. And what's the future? Like, any film distribution in the future, or is it going to be an exclusive church event? What's the vision for this
For
film?
Fiona,
Yeah.
Yes.
we would like to release it into theaters. We've started opening lines of communications with the different Catholic distributors, and just we would like to distribute as a theatrical release, but we'll see where it goes.
Yes, and
So,
if that's not the route we go, we're like bringing up the rock bands. We're gonna take it on the road, so we're gonna make sure this movie's seen ourselves.
That's awesome. All right. Well, God bless. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Christian Channel podcast. And like I said, the link of the company is going to be listed below if you're watching on YouTube. And why don't you, Faustina, share with us the website one more time?
yes, it's industriousfamily.com.
Wonderful. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching.